Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, if you feel like technology is just moving faster and faster, well, you're not alone. Think about AI video generation. Remember that slightly weird Will Smith eating spaghetti video
Yeah.
from just back in early 2023?
Oh, yeah. Kind of melted looking. It was definitely memorable.
Exactly. And look where we are now with that tech. It's mind-blowing. That's hypergrowth measured in months. Today, we're digging into something similar that's happening in business technology following that same kind of curve. It's called vibe coding. This whole idea, it actually comes from Taiwan marketing expert Mr. Kuro, or Qius. He only really introduced it, what, 9 months ago? February 2025?
That's right, just about 9 months. And it's already pushing companies to seriously rethink how they, build and use their tech. And what's really interesting, I think, is that vibe coding isn't just some academic theory. It's actually offering a pretty neat solution to two huge, expensive problems businesses have struggled with for ages.
Which,
Well, first, the terrible failure rate of those massive digital transformation projects, we've all seen them. And second, the scary vulnerability you get when maybe one or two key people basically hold all the important system knowledge in their heads.
okay, yeah. Let's definitely unpack this.
Yeah.
Because we need to get what vibe coding is, but also understand the systemic mess it's trying to fix.
Right. We really have to start with the, frankly, crushing reality of how companies usually try to implement big IT systems.
Mm.
For years, the approach has been, throw a ton of money at these giant, inflexible software packages, your CRMs, ERPs, warehouse systems, whatever. They're sold as these silver bullets, but often the business ends up twisting itself into knots, changing how it works, just to fit the tool's rigid rules.
And the numbers on how badly this often goes.
Yeah.
Pretty shocking, man. It's not just anecdotal.
Oh, not at all. It's systemic. McKinsey looked at this back in 2022. They found 70%, 70% of global digital transformation projects just don't deliver what they promised. Simply integrating a big system doesn't mean it's actually successful or helpful. We've all seen that project, right? Took 3 years, 5 consultants.
Slight overlap, and the team still uses spreadsheets on the side to make it work.
Exactly. 5 Google Sheets just to make the numbers line up? It's madness.
And the wasted money must be enormous.
It is. Look at the Standage Group's CAOS report. It tracks large software projects. Only about 16% finish on time and on budget.
It's seen. That's incredibly low.
It is. And get this, over 31% are just canceled outright. Poof, money gone. And the ones that do finish, they often face cost overruns averaging almost 190%, 189%. These huge systems are just too big, too slow, too rigid, and way too risky.
And then there's the human side you mentioned. Companies try to patch these system gaps with people, right? The key cog problem, as Mr. Kuro calls it.
Precisely. You end up with maybe one or two people who understand how this critical process really works, or how that custom script they wrote keeps things running. That person becomes, well, a single point of failure. When they leave, and people always leave, eventually the whole thing can just grind to a halt.
Or you have to call in expensive consultants just to figure out what that person built.
Right. It's frustrating, it's costly, and we can actually put a number on that risk, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. IDC estimates that these kinds of IT skill gaps, often triggered by losing key staff, cost businesses about $340 billion, just in the Asia-Pacific region.
Wow.
So the realization here, the thing vibe coding really gets at, is that businesses need to shift critical knowledge, move it away from, let's say, uncontrollable human talent and into controllable AI assets.
Okay, that makes sense as a transition. So if big, rigid systems are the problem, why vibe coding? Because honestly, the name vibe coding sounds maybe small. Like, how can it fix these massive enterprise issues?
And that's exactly the point. The initial thought that it's just for tiny, quick things. That is its strength. Vibe coding isn't trying to replace your giant ERP system overnight. Its value is being like digital glue. It's brilliant at building those small, custom-generated scripts or services that bridge the gap, that connect the workflow between the different systems you already have that don't talk to each other properly.
Ah, okay, so you don't need to rip everything out just because, say, accounting and inventory aren't synced up.
Exactly. Maybe you just need a little vibe-coded script that automatically pulls the inventory count from that Google Sheet sales uses and pushes it to your e-commerce site's inventory module. Simple. Or maybe you generate an automated webhook, something that pings customer service on Slack immediately when a certain type of high-value lead comes in, so they follow up faster.
Right. Small fixes for big daily headaches.
Precisely. They seem small, but they fix those constant points of friction that waste so much time and effort.
But hang on, doesn't that create its own problem? Like, a messy tangle of tiny AI scripts running everything. How do you manage that? Is it stable?
That's where the shifting control comes in. It's a different way of thinking. Traditionally, the business, its processes, its people, they had to bend to fit the rules of whatever big software they bought.
Right, the tool dictated the workflow.
Yes, vibe coding flips that.
Yeah.
The actual business flow, the way work needs to get done, that defines the tool you need. And if the flow changes tomorrow, you just modify the code or you generate a new little script instantly. You, the business, stay in control of the process, not locked into a product.
And people are already kind of doing this anyway, aren't they?
They are. Gartner found that 41% of employees outside of IT are already building their own custom data tools or application solutions. People are trying to fix these gaps themselves because the big systems aren't cutting it. That drive is already there.
Which leads us perfectly into this idea of why maybe the word implementation is, well, dying, and why growth is the new buzzword.
Absolutely. That old model months of planning, interviews, design documents, training, then the big, scary launch day, it was often a nightmare. And honestly, that whole design first, implement months later thing, it just doesn't work for most businesses today, especially smaller or medium-sized ones. Their problems are now. They change week to week. You spend 6 months planning and building something. By the time it launches, the problem you were trying to solve might have already changed. The system's obsolete on day one.
So vibe coding changes the whole risk calculation there. Implementation isn't this massive one-off project anymore.
Exactly. It becomes more like a daily capability. You feel the pain point in operations today. You generate a potential fix, you test it, you tweak it, maybe you generate something slightly different tomorrow. It's immediate, contextual problem solving.
And businesses seem ready for this kind of speed.
Very much so. McKinsey's latest global AI survey, this was November 2025, found 62% of companies are already playing around with AI agents, the kind of tools you use for vibe coding. And 23% are actually using them at scale in at least some departments already. The adoption is happening fast.
And this ties into the bigger picture stuff that Gartner's talking about too, right?
Yeah.
About future platforms.
Directly. Gartner's recent reports, like from October 2025, they keep highlighting things like composable platforms and no-code composability. The idea is that the winning system in the future isn't one you buy off the shelf, install, and it stays fixed. It's one that grows. It adapts itself almost organically to what the business needs, moment by moment. Which means, kind of paradoxically, that stability in the old sense, a rigid, unchanging system that now actually creates a risk of becoming obsolete.
Okay, this is fascinating. But before we get to the practical advice, we have to tackle the big confusion point. How is vibe coding really different from no-code? We've had no-code tools for years.
Yeah, that's a really important distinction. It kind of determines who holds the power, actually. Think of no-code platforms. They give you a visual builder, drag-and-drop modules, right? They let people who aren't coders build things, which is great, but it's like building with Legos. You can make cool stuff, but you're ultimately limited by the specific bricks, the modules, the features that the platform gives you. There's a framework, a box you have to work within.
Got it. So no-code is powerful, but within predefined limits.
Exactly. Vibe coding is different. It uses natural language. You just describe what you need to generate the actual code and logic. It works outside any predefined box. It's more like describing the blueprint of a machine you need to a super smart 3D printer that can build it from raw materials. It empowers the people who truly understand the flow, the project managers, the marketers, the ops people, to basically construct custom solutions based on their intent. It makes the organization kind of self-healing because you can generate the fix right when you spot the problem.
That's a huge shift. And it must completely change the game for consultants and smaller software companies too.
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Kutro talks about this. They have to stop thinking of themselves as just product manufacturers. They need to become what he calls vibe size, system integrators for this new era.
Vibes SIs. Okay, why the urgency?
Because the buyers are changing. Gartner predicts that by the end of this year, 2025, 50% of new customers for low-code platforms will be business buyers, people outside the IT department. The folks feeling the operational pain points every day, they're now the ones finding and buying the solutions directly.
So if you're one of these new Vibe SIs, what are you actually selling if you're not selling a giant platform license necessarily?
You're selling expertise in translation and connection. You understand the APIs, how data needs to flow, where the real gaps are in the client's process. Your job isn't to write a 100-page strategy document anymore. It's to quickly understand the client's need, even if it's a bit vague, translate that into logic to AI can understand, and then deliver working code fast. Code that acts as that digital glue between their existing systems.
So the value is speed, translation, and immediate results.
Exactly. Speed of generation and accuracy of translation.
Okay, brilliant. Let's try and boil this down for everyone listening. Key takeaways from this Vibe era survival guide, if you will. We heard implementation is dead. Vibe coding is that digital glue. Crucially, flow defines the tool, not the other way around. SaaS companies need to think like Vibe SaaS, and systems are grown, not bought.
Right. And the first thing you can do, maybe today or tomorrow, if you're a manager or a PM, stop asking what big system should we buy. That's the old, expensive question.
Instead, start what you could call a process leak detection meeting. Ask your team, where are we spending time manually copying and pasting stuff? Where are we doing the same boring task over and over? Where are we always waiting for information that should be instant?
Yeah, find those manual workarounds, those delays. That's your process leak. That's where you need some digital glue urgently. And please, start small, really small. Don't try to build a whole new system on day one. Build one tiny notification.
Like a minimum viable product, but even smaller maybe?
Kind of, like maybe just a simple alert. A Slack message when inventory for your main product drops below, say, 3 units. Or an email reminder if a key client hasn't been contacted in X weeks. Tiny, focused value.
And for individuals listening, thinking about their own skills, what's the key thing to focus on in this vibe coding world? It's not learning Python, is it?
Not necessarily, no. The most crucial skill, honestly, for anyone, manager, marketer, operations specialist, is learning how to accurately describe your needs to the AI. Clearly articulating the problem, the desired outcome, the steps involved. That's the input the AI needs to generate the right code. It leverages your process knowledge.
Right, so your deep understanding of the business problem is actually more valuable than ever.
Exactly. You know the pain points intimately. Now you have a way to articulate them and get an immediate generated solution.
So wrapping this up, our deep dive into Mr. Kuro's vibe coding really suggests that the future isn't about who has the biggest, most expensive software contract.
No, it seems like it's going to be about who can make their internal systems grow the fastest, the most naturally, adapting constantly to keep pace with the market. Which leaves a final thought for you, listening right now. In this era where standing still, being stable, actually means falling behind, what internal process are you still waiting for some big system to fix? What process could you maybe grow a small solution for using these ideas, maybe even today?
Something to think about. The power to generate solutions is, increasingly, right there.